So what's interesting is we're going to go into more correlations of how they did interact with each other, not only sharing the same story of the same gods, but even the same technology. And so I guess I'll go back to Telos, which is the automatons, real quick, and so we can make time here. But
Oh, cool. Let's do it, man. This is some gravy.
Yeah. So Telos, this is if you ever saw that old movie from like the 60s, it was called Jason and the Argonauts. And it was about these guys that went to this island. There was this massive robot that was like guarding the island. That's a story from ancient Greece about Zeus, who built an automaton named Telos, who guarded his island. And the automaton could fly. And it was powered by this elixir that had a gold tint to it. And I'm sitting there going, that sounds a lot like oil inside of a robot, right? But Lord Indra also, with this Zagra, could take the form of an attack flying machine and control it. So this thing could not only produce a weapon of lightning, it could not only control weather somehow, but also can control machines. So here's from ancient Greece, approximately 300 to 270 BC. This is a winged Talon. This is where we get the word Talon, is from Telos. And this is literally, they put this flying robot in the form of an angel on one of their coins back in the day, one of their drachmas. So this is from one of the historical writings of ancient Greece. It says the sacred mount was believed to have a temperate climate. And this is talking about Mount Olympus, where the gods hung out. And it was a temperate climate all year round. The mountains, gorges, lush with forests. The gods did not always reside in their paradise, however, and would depart, or they were to return there via a gate of clouds guarded by Hore, the goddesses of the seasons. Now, the author claims the tables in Zeus's palace on Olympus were made of gold and were actually automatons created by Hephaestus. They moved in and out of the rooms as required by the gods, and Zeus's throne was situated in the Pantheon, the meeting hall of the gods. It was also designed by Hephaestus and was constructed from black marble inlaid with gold. Each of the gods had their own palace on the mountain, usually constructed of gold and marble and situated in a gorge in the mountain peaks. This is describing Mount Olympus, which they said existed in the clouds in the air.
On LiiightHouse, got two flavors. I think today I'm going to go with this one. Here it's just not going to stop, so whatever. This one helps with restlessness, nervous disorders, asthma, digestion, high blood pressure, insomnia, pain, GI discomfort. I'm so excited. It is for inflammation, anxiety, high blood sugar. Actually, I'm going to do this one instead. Anxiety. You can get them off the website, LiiightHouse, and I'll also leave a link in my bio in case you want to try them out. Okay. They were also super kind enough to send me 100% raw Cheyenne honey. Okay. Disco bottle tea. Let's let her simmer. So cute, because this one, it says our tree of life blend, and this one's our relaxing Sabbath rest blend. It's all godly. Prayer for healing for me, please, in my ear, and this bird too, please be quiet. They were not playing. No joke, this is actually really good. I'm shocked, and I don't even like tea. This is literally blessed by Yeshua. Can I get an amen, sweet Pete? That's right. Time to get all warm and cozy and not have no anxiety. On LiiightHouse.
The gods met daily at Zeus's palace in the Pantheon, where they held feasts and discussed the fate of the mortals. They drank nectar and ate ambrosia, which perpetuated their immortality. Allegedly, when the gods drank ambrosia, the blood in their veins was replaced by ichor, a substance that was toxic to humans. Ichor also ran through the veins of Telos, the Greek giant automaton. In Greek mythology, Telos, also spelled Telos, or Talon, was a giant automaton commissioned by Zeus and made of bronze to protect Europa and Crete from pirates and invaders. He circled the island shore 3 times daily. Telos was said to have been programmed with the knowledge of the gods. That's crazy. So not only are they claiming 3,000 years ago, the Greeks are claiming that Zeus created an automaton, a moving by itself robot, but that it was programmed with the knowledge of the gods. So that doesn't get more AI than that, in my opinion. Because this thing autonomously guarded an entire island by itself. So they claimed. So in modernity, there's Adrienne Mayer. She's a research scholar at Stanford. She started looking into this because this somehow came in front of her attention. So she says, my research into the first inklings of the scientific impulse took me into the world of mythology where ancient people first envisioned making artificial life, automatons, robots, self-moving devices, and other marvelous things long before the technology made them possible. These stories about robots and other machines in ancient oral traditions were first written down in the time of Homer, about 2,700 years ago, but the Greeks were not the only people to imagine automatons and machines in antiquity. Similar stories exist in the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and other epics. In Hindu myths, automatons are made of the engineer god Vishwakarma and the sorceress Maya. So why is a sorceress making robots? This is what we're talking about. All this technology, all this thought process, all these machinations, this is the downflow of information from rebellious angels that we see from before the flood. So you've got a supposed, a smart engineer as well as a sorceress getting together in ancient India to make robots that moved on their own. In Greek myths, they're made by the god of technology Hephaestus and the brilliant artisan Daedalus. So I consider such myths to be the world's first science fiction stories. This is the researcher from Stanford. She says no single civilization has a monopoly on ancient dreams of advanced technology. Whether one looks at the Greeks, the Etruscans, the Egyptians, the Hindu, the Islamic, the Chinese, or any other ancient culture myth about artificial life. So she just told you that all these other cultures listed all had stories of artificial life, specifically what they called automatons. They all contemplate what wonders might be achieved if only one could possess the divine creativity and ability of the gods. But it's not possible to draw a direct line of development from mythology over millennia to modern scientific knowledge. So, Austin, I know you're already aware. We've got Tesla's trying to make robots, Honda's making robots, Boston Dynamics is making robots. Like, just go down the list, right? You got those police dogs with no heads, that they're making robots out of. And it's their goal to make them as smart, sophisticated, and flexible as possible, right? Where did they get this idea? Why is there continually making movies about automatons, robots that can think and move on their own, that want to destroy humanity and take over the world? It's like they keep making. I thought like, once the Terminator franchise kind of run its course, they would stop making movies about that. Every year there's a new movie about some rogue machine that's been built, that has some sort of ghost in the machine type thing that is going off of its programming and trying to take over the world and kill humans. These ideas are not new, is what I'm getting at. None of these ideas are new. Just like string theory is not new. It's from ancient India. It goes back to the lotus flower of Brahma. Just like all these concepts, like we're going to talk about Vimanas, the UFOs and UAPs, this is not new information. So this research scholar goes on to say, Indian and Hellenistic cultures borrowed and influenced each other beginning around the 5th century BC, and syncretism intensified after Alexander of Macedon and King Porus began relations in the 4th century BC. So she's telling you that India and Greece had trade relations in the 400 years before Christ, so 2,400 years ago, approximately 2,500 years ago. So the traveling Greek sage Apollodorus of Tyana observed automated servants and self-propelled carts in the court of the ruler of India. And India was centuries ahead of Europe in the technologies of distillation and hydraulics. So here's an ancient, 3,000-year-old depiction on the right-hand side here from India, from one of their Vimanas, with the schematic interior working of some sort of engine system that they had figured out. She goes on to say myths featuring flying chariots and synthetic swans, animated servants, giant robots, machines, and the like appear in the Mahabharata, the Ramayana. I can't say this word. What does it say? Kata Satari Satagara, and the Harizvamsa, and other works. Self-navigating ships appear in Egyptian texts and Homer's Odyssey. Android and animal automatons are described in Homer's Iliad and in Chinese chronicles. The most detailed account is in the Lokopatanari from Burma. After Buddha's death, the story recounts the king of Ajatasattu. He preserved his bodily remains in a hidden chamber under the stupa. That's under one of their temples. The precious relics were guarded by Bhutavahana Yantra, which translates spirit moving machines. So wow. This is not some crackpot. This is a research scholar at Stanford who is admitting syncretism between these cultures, and is admitting they all shared the same stories with various accounts from seemingly credible people who are part of the king's court and recorded that they saw various types of automatons doing all kinds of things. So in the picture on the right-hand side, you have a picture of the Buddha, and these two looking like these two soldiers on the side were supposed to be the automatons that guarded the relics of this Buddha.